Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun channel. I know there's a lot going on and I can't make a video for every single topic that's out there, but if you want to hear something or if you want to hear something specific, let me know. I'll do my best to comment on it somewhere, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or Steemit maybe. Ultimately, I'm still working on getting my own website back up because I can post short little blog posts there if I get it going. So the first thing I just wanted to mention real briefly is obviously the Sutherland shootings, and prayers out to that whole community. It's awful what happened. Just having a young daughter myself, I can't imagine something like that happening. And I think the things that can't be verified are more suspicious than the things that can. The gun control issue obviously is a discussion, but also behind it all, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some sort of CIA or quote-unquote deep state tie. And also I think it connects to the Saudi Arabia arrests and even the taking out of some of the princes that have happened recently. Although I don't think this is anything that we need to be celebrating, even though the ultra-Trump fans will definitely call this a victory. I think this is actually a temporary switch of power, and the plans that Saudi Arabia has to create the city Neom still says that the technocrats are in control and they are pushing for their New World Order regardless. But part of that New World Order process is mind control, mental conditioning, and over the weekend I watched the film Thor Ragnarok, and I noticed immediately in a couple scenes that this was actually a Freemasonic initiation ritual film. Now, I'm not going to do a whole breakdown of the film, but I do want to point out this one scene because I noticed it for what it is right away. Now, there's a scene where Thor ends up on this planet, wasteland, that's surrounded by portals or wormholes and is run by a guy who calls himself the Grandmaster, which already has its Freemasonic undertones. And there's a scene where he is strapped into this chair and he's going through this tunnel-like area and being spoken to by the AI and everything else. But he goes through this transition through darkness, and it actually goes right into the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, the music, and the same thing where they go through the tunnel and they see all the creepy things and all the darkness and everything else. Exact same scene and exact same music, and the Marvel nerds are out there saying, oh, there's a Willy Wonka Easter egg in the movie Thor Ragnarok, and yes, that is true, but deeper than a simple Easter egg and a reference to Willy Wonka is this initiation ritual. Now, they've had this in movies before. For example, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, when Luke goes into the cave. You know, this sort of motif has been in movies, but it's this idea of transformation, of going from one form to another. And in the case of Thor, it's represented with the haircut as well, which can have its connections to the stuff that we've seen with the MK Ultra, where people like Sinead O'Connor or Britney Spears comes out with a shaved head. Well, this isn't exactly a shaved head, but it's the same idea where a transformation occurs based on cutting hair and going through this dark time. Now, if you think this is all just speculation and crazy talk, consider this. This is footage that was caught of a Turkish Masonic initiation ritual. And at one point in the initiation ritual, it says here in poor translation, whether you will be accepted as joined us or not, from the time when you will be taken into the dark zone, which we call contemplation room, you will not tell anybody what you have seen and heard so far, and what you will hear here from now on, and what you will see after your eyes will be opened. Do you promise on your honor? And so this is part of the initiation rite, to go through this dark time, and that's why they have the bag over the face and all these things. And of course, you can't overlook the fact that, you know, they use the phrase eyes be opened, same thing that the serpent promised Eve in the Garden of Eden when the serpent tempted Eve with the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. So that was the first thing I noticed, and you got to remember that this ritual or this initiation, going through the dark time or dark room or whatever, is a way to, you know, face your own evils or whatever. But at the same time, during the initiation rites, if you keep watching that video of the Turkish Masonic initiation rite, they put a sword up to them and swear to defend them, but also they say that you will be basically killed if you reveal the secrets of the order. And we know that, you know, the various levels are lied to, the lower you are, and ultimately at the top they worship Lucifer. So that's what's being pushed out into the public here, because if everyone goes through the initiation, they're all initiated and they are part of the system and they are able to be controlled by the controllers. Now, the other thing that I noticed and this is obvious to anyone, is Thor loses an eye. Now, there's an obvious reference here to the Norse mythology with Odin, because, you know, he only had one eye as well. And there are several different mythologies associated with that. One of them has to do with Odin's quest for wisdom. When he ventured into Myrmir's well, he had to sacrifice one of his eyes to get a drink from the well. And if you follow the Marvel comic books, Rune King Thor also includes a moment where Thor has to sacrifice in order to gain knowledge and understanding that lets him tap into this greater power, and he has to pull out his own eye just like Odin did. So again, it's this thing where you have to sacrifice something to gain enlightenment. And this goes back to the story of Horus, who is the son of Osiris and Isis. And in one of the ancient myths, Horus and Set got into a fight, and Horus's right eye was torn out. And later on, Thoth magically restores Horus's eye. And there are different mythos where in one of them, it's his right eye that gets torn out, and another one, it's his left eye. And in the ancient Egyptian mythologies, the restoration of the eye became emblematic of the reestablishment of order from chaos. And in one mythology, Horus made a gift of the eye to Osiris to help him rule the netherworld, and Osiris eats the eye and was restored to life. And as a result, it became the symbol of life and resurrection. And that's why offerings were sometimes called the Eye of Horus, because it was thought that the goods offered became divine when presented to a god. And there are other references to the eye that associate with Ra and everything else. And it's important to point out, because of everything that is being unveiled with Hollywood and the sex scandals and the pedophilia and everything else, those types of ideologies are accepted because they adhere to certain ancient mystery school religions that use these kinds of things for manipulation, for power, for magic, and ultimately for some sort of energy transfer that they believe in. It's not for anything good or wholesome. It is sin manifesting right in front of our faces and trying to get us to normalize it. And as long as we call it out and we expose it, we can remain free from the mind control that they're trying to create for the masses. And I know that, you know, I'm just one voice out of many, but if you share videos like this, more people will wake up, and more people have been waking up, and it's been kind of cool to see. But we have to always ground it in the truth in Jesus Christ, because no matter how much we know about what's going on in the world, if you don't have that solid foundation, then you're just going to jump from different unsteady foundation to unsteady foundation, searching for some sort of concrete truth when you're not going to find it, especially when those ideologies are based in evil or based in unsolid foundations. And I think this is prophetic. I think there's lots of signs right now that we are living in some very, very prophetic times, and we need to stay vigilant, keep watchful. There are lots of other stories that I can't get to in this video here, but I am going to discuss in Canary Cry News Talk, so look out for that. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. In the meantime, let me know what you guys think about Thor Ragnarok, the movie. If you did see it and you noticed something else, definitely leave it in the comments section. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless.